Welcome to the B-Graders. This is a podcast that myself, Matt Pointer, and
Matt
Tognini, who I've been friends with since about 1988. He and I have been talking about doing something like a podcast for the last couple of years, really. I've done a little bit of YouTube stuff with SBS and another show that we did here in WA about bikes. Predominantly, we just want to have a bit of a gas bag about bikes, topics that excite us, that might excite you out there.
If they don't watch.
Exactly. If they don't watch. If you're easily offended,
Don't watch.
Don't send us any nasty emails. Or do send us some nasty emails if you can find our email address, basically.
Yeah, if you know our email address, you can send us any suggestions you like, and they'll be taken
They'll be given
in the manner that they're supposed to be.
Well and truly. So, we like the odd podcast, and I think, and I do like the idea of giving Western Australian cycling and the local community of cycling a bit of a voice. So we thought we'd just have a bit of a play around. So we call it the B-Graders, and the reason we call it the B-Graders is that what we are. And the way I clarify that is, an A-grader is your Luke Durbridges of the world. I think A-grade gets bandied around too easily, personally, about what an A-grader is, and I think the A-grade is the top of the level. So, and the next level down from that is B-graders. We probably could get away with even calling ourselves C-graders, but
well, we are at that age.
We're at an age where we can get away with calling ourselves B-graders, because if we were 21 and 22 and rode the way we did, we'd call ourselves D-graders. But
There's no doubt about that.
we're 46, so we'll call ourselves B-graders. But what we've done is Maddie and I have decided we're going to come up with 3 topics each for today, and we're just going to discuss them. So my first one, the greatest thing to happen in West Australian cycling in more than 20 years has happened this summer, and it's a thing called the Ring Series. It's run by Cycle Sport Western Australia. All the clubs who run criteriums have gotten together this year and put on basically a rotational criterium series. Who'd have thought if that could work? But what it has done is it has worked, and I think it's worked really, really well.
I reckon it's fantastic, Matt. For a number of years, the only consistent racing in WA has been the AVCC vets, and you had to be 35 to ride. They sometimes let some of the younger ladies ride, but now virtually every week they've had a couple of breaks here and there. There's been a crit for the younger fellas to ride and the ladies to get out there, and racing's been pretty solid.
Has been pretty solid. The only thing I'd say against the Ring Series, and this is the only thing I'll say against the Ring Series because I think it's beautiful. As a series, you get points every single week, and the point system works really, really well. But I think with a series like this, you've got A grade, B grade, C grade, D grade. You've got beautiful numbers in the women, A grade, B grade, C grade, D grade.
Absolutely.
But the whole purpose to B grade, C grade, D grade, from what I've been brought up with, from what you've been brought up with, is if you win D grade a couple of times, you progress to C grade, you get into C grade, you progress to B grade, and so on. And because it's a series and because you're scoring points in D grade, I saw there's a good lad in D grade. He's about 18 or 19 years of age. He's won about 4 D grades. Now, I don't think you should be winning a D grade bike race 4 times unless you're the other side of 55 or 60.
Yeah.
But that's not having a crack at the kid.
No, you can't have a crack at the kid. The kid's gone and done what he's supposed to do. He's entered his grade, he's been accepted in there, and he's winning. Now, kid of 18, 19, even up to 30, if you win a D grade, you should be straight up to C grade.
You should want to go up. And I'm
you
sure
should
this
want
kid
to,
does.
yeah.
But the way the series works out is they're going to give a D grade winner's jersey, so you're not going to move up. So I think for next year, our suggestion, next year, A grade women, A grade men, that's the series, and then I think everything else should be a standalone
Crit
race every week. But that is the only thing I would say needs to possibly change. Glenn Taraki on the microphone, just come back to the sport, doing a great job. Dan O'Donoghue, Liam McGowan, who else we got? Gary Suckling's been out there helping. Toby Hodgson from Cycle Sport West Australia, Cam Wong, Joe McCarthy,
the guy
Matty
from South Perth, what's his name?
South Perth Relays, Peter Marr.
And
then Peel District Cycling Club, South Perth Relays Cycling Club, Ruchard Cycling Club.
Barry Wanless as well.
Barry Wanless.
How can you forget Barry?
How can you forget Barry Wanless? You want to forget Barry Wanless.
You do want to
Honestly,
forget Barry. No one has more of a rant. No one does a better rant, really, than Barry Wanless.
Barry Wanless. Tell you what, I rode against Barry Wanless, 1987. I was 16 years of age, first year junior. I'm in this race in Jarrahdale, and a guy called Wes Huddleston, he's jumped off the front of the race and he's won the race, and we're all boxing around trying to get who's going to win the sprint for second. And this smelly, hairy, bearded bloke goes off the front and he just couldn't catch him, and he runs second, and it's bloody Barry Wanless, and bloody strong bike
still a
rider.
smelly,
Represented WA even very well.
Yeah.
Very well did Barry.
Absolutely.
So that's my first topic. Anyway, Ring Series.
Ring Series has been fantastic. Well, my topic first up is the upcoming State Criterium Championships, and I reckon Round Tech Park, perfect course for a state championship, Matt.
Yep. For the spectator.
For the spectator, not great to ride because it's bloody hard.
You have to be
It's
fit.
a proper circuit, and it always engenders. The result is always the right result round there. It's never a bad bike rider wins around there.
No, you don't win around Tech Park by fluke.
No.
And we've seen some good state titles in the men's round there and in the women's the last couple of years. You have the vets ones as well. I'm not going to pay too much kudos to the vets racing. Vets racing is what it is. I think it could do with being supported a little bit better at Cycling Australia events. I think they could. I think Cycle Sport WA and Cycling Australia could do a little bit more about doing the age groups correctly, and that is 5-year age gaps, because 40 to 44, that's an age group. 45 to 49, that's an age group. 48, 49-year-old bloke, not necessarily that keen on suddenly coming up against a 40-year-old bloke in the state title.
Yeah, particularly, things start to slow down on you. You get the other side of 45, and the young kids, I call them young kids, coming out at 38, 39 into 40, they recover a touch better than us.
They go a little bit quicker, but
yeah.
Next couple of weeks, what date is that on? That's on the 19th
of March.
And it's sponsored by Eddie Merckx Cycles and Champion Systems. Just a little gratuitous plug there, run by South Perth Relays and Rouchard Cycling Club. Of course, Peter Maher and Dan O'Donoghue. If it hadn't been for them for the last 4 or 5 years, we wouldn't be having these bike races.
There'd be no bike racing in WA.
Off to Dan O'Donoghue and Pete and everyone at the two clubs. But the people to watch last year, who did we have out there? You had Theo Yates won the men's. He got away with Luke Pledger, and then there was a sprint for third place. And in the girls last year, there was a bit of cat and mouse, because you had Jade Haynes, under 19 first year.
Absolutely,
with Beck Mackey and Jess Huston. And Jess Huston and Beck Mackey were the senior riders, and in different teams. So they cancelled each other out. Jade Haynes won the outright.
She was first across the line, took the under 19s women,
and Hussey crossed the line in second to win the state title.
Yep,
yeah, so
absolutely.
That'll be an interesting one this year, because there's been a bit of a shift in women's cycling this criterium season. We've seen Mel Robinson, who does so many good things for women's cycling. There's no doubt about it here in WA. But
she's in a rich vein of form at the moment.
She is in a rich vein of form. She has been suddenly worked out how to get her sprint back and how to get to the finish and how to win and cross that line first consistently. She is the lady to beat in the Ring Series this year, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
In the men's, well, the winningest bike rider, I know, is winning it. You're a smart man, I'm a dumb man. Is winningest an actual word?
I've used it, so it must be.
I use it, so it must be, yeah. But the winningest guy, Stevie Hall.
Yeah, is he going to be here? Or is he jetting off again this year?
That's a good point.
I'd like to think if Stevie Hall's here, he would be my outright favourite. But you've got Michael Freeberg.
Yep.
You've got
Nicholas Graham Dawson, who is in the last 3 years won 2 and finished 4th last year. So, and he's doing a little bit extra.
He does
I think
enough.
He's stopped drinking as much beer as he likes to the last couple of weeks.
He needs to get out on the bike because he needs to escape the girlfriend. She does nag.
She does nag. Nagging girlfriend. New house, new car, new dog.
Go to work, earn us
puppy,
some money.
by the way.
Yeah, that's
puppy.
right.
Yeah.
Look, it's really going to come down to who's here, because if Theo's here,
Theo, very, very fast. A great sprint the other day at Nangara between Theo and Stevie Hall. We've got a guy, Matt Peterson, who's come up from KD Cycles. Big shout out to the boys at KD Cycles, always doing great things with the Peel District area riders. He's stepped up into my team, into Wormel this summer, which has been great for us. Real solid bike rider. But the kid, two kids.
There's one kid from Verus who's doing very well. I don't know his name.
Leighton Cook. Leighton Cook has come from the world of triathlon, very good triathlete, but I have never seen a triathlete adapt to the style of road racing, let alone criterium racing, so brilliantly. I saw him unload Michael Freeberg the other day at Rockingham, brilliantly, and I saw him, he ran a place the other day in Renee Baker's Memorial around Tech Park, got second to Stevie Hall, and the other kid is from Saddlist. Bryce Lanigan.
Good kid.
He had a very good win
very
at
well.
Rockingham earlier in the year. So we've got some good kids. Like, we could go through the bunch all day here and point out different guys who we think are going really, really well. But I reckon we've pretty well covered
The best thing
most of
about
it.
the State Criterium Championship, Matt, is going to be that the commentators for that race is us.
Yes.
So it will be entertaining.
Whether it's good for you,
It depends if
but it
you're on
will
the
be
end.
great for us.
It's really going to depend if you're on the end of our, if you catch our ire that day, if we decide to target you or not.
Very much so. And we're not even going to give you a glimpse on who we're going to target.
Oh, we've got a list.
We've
There is a
always
list.
got a list, but we'll pick it on the day.
Yeah,
see
on the
what
day.
sort of mood. If somebody's a little bit too happy, you know, and we use the Ricky Gervais. For those of you who win the state title, remember, nobody cares about that state title as much as you do. So keep your acceptance speeches as short as you
possibly can. People have
Thank
got
mum and
lives.
always
They don't want to
thank
listen
mum.
to you.
You don't have to thank your dad, but always thank your mum. If it weren't for her, you wouldn't be here.
And if you got a wife, thank her. Otherwise, your life could be horrible.
Oh, did I make that mistake?
Yeah,
Wow, remember
geez,
that?
yeah, I do.
I've not been
Never lived that
forgiven yet.
down. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what's on the go, son?
Well, I don't know. You know, I'm really looking forward to the classics starting this weekend.
Yep.
Het Nieuwsblad this weekend. You
Yep.
know, the first cobbled classic. They call it the mini Tour of Flanders. Basically, it's the Tour of Flanders less 50k.
Same
And
roads, same
same roads, same climbs, and it just signifies that road racing started. You know,
And-
we've had the Tour Down Under, we've had the Tour of Dubai, we've had all these things, and they're great. I go to the Tour Down Under every year. Wouldn't miss it. But real road racing starts this weekend. It starts on the roads of Belgium. It's going to be cold, it's probably going to be wet, and the hard men are going to show themselves.
Well, the best one-day boys will be there because last
Absolutely.
year the Olympic champion
Won it.
won it, and Greg Van Avermaet, and he beat the world champion in what's that bloke's name?
I
again?
think he's got long
Sagan.
hair, hasn't he? It's
Sagan.
not Doug Stewart. It's
No, it's not Doug Stewart. He's
It's
very similar haircut.
Yeah.
Like Doug Stewart needs to go a bit more of a rinse. He's a bit grey on the side.
Yeah.
But Peter Sagan ran second, and it has to be said, Greg Van Avermaet, probably one of the only bike riders in the world who tends to have the edge over Peter Sagan when a one-on-one duel
Tends
situation.
to beat him.
last
You know,
week.
I think he won. He did go out and he won Het Nieuwsblad, fell off in Flanders or one of the following races, broke his collarbone. Turned out to be a fortuitous break for him because came away. Couple of stages that he rode very well in the Tour and then won the Olympics. So
Very much
you
so.
know, bad luck sometimes breeds good luck.
That's right. Now, with bike racing, of course, something's come up in the press this week. Poor old Lance Armstrong. I just
Poor
got to
old
go
Lance.
on record here. Big Cadell Evans fans.
Big Cadell Evans
We
fans.
stood in front of the TV when Cadell Evans won the world road title, screaming at my television, like absolute massive Cadell Evans fans sitting in front of you right here. But, has to be said, we were even bigger Lance Armstrong fans, and I still am.
Yeah,
a
as am
Lance
I.
Armstrong
He's-
fan
as far as I'm
his bike
concerned.
racing goes.
Won 7 tours as far as I'm concerned.
1-7 tours. You know, did it in an era where
Everyone was doping
no one was doing anything much different. Like the guys who were doing it differently, and good on them
for trying.
straight up, but they were running 26th and 27th and weren't making any money. So Lance Armstrong, it's going to court. 93.4 million they reckon he might lose, which I just don't know if I necessarily agree with.
Don't know if I disagree or agree with. I think it's a bit silly. However, that's the legal system that he works in, and I wish him all the best. I hope that it gets thrown out. I hope he can go away and live his life. He has been, you know, look, he did a lot of things. You know, the reason I reckon that he gets punished, he gets the rap he's getting, is because he was a bit of an arsehole to people.
Oh yeah,
You know,
no doubt about it.
you look at the people who have been accepted back.
Yeah.
The Ulrichs of this world, the David Millers of this world, who did exactly the same thing. They just weren't as big an arsehole as him. So
Yeah.
he's getting the punishment for being an arsehole, which, yeah, okay, karma is a bitch, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, you know, he has been punished. He's had his tours taken away from him. He's lost all his
Well, it's out in
sponsorships.
the open, isn't it? There's no pretending anymore. It's
No.
out in the open. But one thing I do like, aside from what he did on the bike, I don't think anyone has brought the disease of cancer to the forefront of the public eye as quickly or as massively as the Live Strong Foundation did. Regardless of who made money here, there or anywhere, there are things that have been put in place worldwide with extra hospitals, extra funding, extra this, extra that to try and battle a disease that once upon a time, if you got diagnosed with it,
You're pretty much dead.
you were gone.
Yep.
Now there's people living 20, 30 years longer because of the research that's gone into it, and I think a lot of that, you know, you gotta give credit where credit's due.
And look, and if you want to have a listen to his podcast. It's
Yeah.
called The Forward. He had just had an episode where he was with Dylan Casey, Van der Velde and, of course, George Hincapie. And he made a very good point. He said, regardless of how much doping we did, you can't take away the fact that he said we worked really, really hard. We did all the right things, all the Sky things. You know, the marginal gains. They brought marginal gains in before marginal gains was a popular saying. And he said it's not a black hat thing, it's not a white hat thing, it's a grey hat thing, because they did so much good, but of course they did so much bad. So they weren't all good guys, and they certainly it wasn't all bad. It was somewhere in the middle. And if you go and have a look at the other teams that were riding around at the time, I don't think you couldn't find a clean team. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, through the 90s.
So.
No,
I don't believe so.
Into the 2000s.
And I'm not even pointing the finger at...
No, I don't care. It was entertaining as far as I'm concerned.
I really don't care. I think my honest opinion of professional sport is professional sport. You know, what is your job? Crossing the line first.
And you know, it is what it is, and it's gone, and it's probably better now.
And the thing that gets me is, we have rules about that sort of stuff. 2-year ban. You know, you can argue the day is dark, 2 years or life ban, whatever. But our rule is it's a 2-year ban. If you get caught.
If you get caught and you serve your ban, you should be allowed back in.
Should be allowed back in.
Vinokurov was allowed back in, won the Olympics.
Dave Miller won the World Time Trial Championship, served his ban, got back in, you know, and ended a very, very illustrious career. Because at the end of the day, you know, we hear this said a lot, and it does not make a Clydesdale a racehorse.
Absolutely
you have
not.
to have been there already.
Still got to be able to do the work. Yeah. Someone said to me, you never supercharge a 4-cylinder, you got to make it an 8-cylinder before you supercharge it.
Fast down the road.
That's it.
No worries.
Anywho, I'm a bit concerned sometimes around Perth, around some of the bunch rides in this town.
Well, I haven't been on a bunch ride in Perth since probably 2011, which is now, crikey,
it's a while.
6 years?
6 years.
Gee, that's why I'm wearing double XL
and this shows us being old, Matt, because when we were a bit younger and, you know, going a bit better, we didn't care. You rode the bunchies. You took it as it was. Yeah. The difference now, from my point of view, is there's a lot more cars on the road. Well, seems to be, and there's a lot more ire about bike riders.
There's a lot more ire about it, and I think that's social media. Like nowadays, like once upon a time, I'm not saying I ever did it. No. I'm not saying I ever hung out with any bunches that did it, but once upon a time, if you got shut badly by what you call a hoon driver, you might have a word at the next set of traffic lights if you were lucky enough to catch up to them. But nowadays, you don't do that. Nope. For the simple reason, somebody will take out their phone and film it, and you're the YouTube sensation of the day. And like, I don't care whether you're in the right or the wrong of the situation. If you're seen as the aggressor,
you're in the problems.
You are the one who's wrong.
And most of us wear a kit.
Yep.
That is promoting some sort of business.
Yep.
And you cannot be seen to be representing that business in a bad light. Exactly. You just can't do it.
So mental note for you young kids out there, if you've got an old sponsored jersey that you're given and you don't like that sponsor anymore, if you
wear that
one.
At
somebody, wear that one.
Yep,
okay?
Just don't wear mine.
Don't wear KHT
or Wormel
for that matter. But we won't say who you can wear.
Any of the others will be fine.
Any of the others are fine, but yeah.
Any of the others, just not those two.
All right, non-cycling subject. Just quickly, we can get back into a cycling subject. I see today in the news they've brought out this. They're going to do away with double time on a Sunday.
Fantastic idea.
Oh, you're kidding.
Absolutely.
You are dreaming.
Representing small businesses who have to pay that, it's an absolute millstone around their neck.
Well, no.
Small businesses like this business here that we have generously let us use their backyard.
Sweet Remedy Cafe. It's on the corner of Oxford Street and Burke Street, just on the roundabout.
Support bike riders, show up in your Lycra, park out the back, they'll look after you, there's no doubt about that. They've shut on a Sunday now. Can't afford to pay the wages to open because of the double time.
Well, I can only talk on one industry, only on one industry on this one, and that is hospitality industry, because I worked at the casino for 10 years. Now, we used to swap our shifts to get Sunday shifts.
Absolutely.
Because it was double time. So you would try and work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday night, should I say, Saturday, Sunday, because it would roll into time and a half and then double time. I can't see that attitude staying with something like the casino industry or the hospitality industry, because you're giving up Sundays with the family. Like, you get kids in primary school, kids in high school who you want to see on the weekend because otherwise you don't see them. I think, and here's the slippery slope. In my opinion, from experience of being a guy who works paycheck to paycheck my whole life, The people who work paycheck to paycheck, they rely on that double time. If you start taking away from the poor, and they are the poor, paycheck to paycheck is you're poor, I'm there, all of a sudden you don't have the money for private health. So that puts more strain on the public health. All of a sudden you don't have the extra money for the second car. So that puts public transport under the microscope. Hospitals, schooling, suddenly you don't have the money to do private school.
There's pros and cons.
There's a slippery slope.
There's pros and cons of everything, Matt. But at the end of the day, when these penalty rates were brought in, it was a 5-day, maybe a 5.5-day-a-week week. Everything shut at midday on Saturday, and everyone had their weekend. So if you had to work Saturday afternoon or through Sunday because you were on the roster at the petrol station or whatever it was, you got paid extra because everything else was shut. Now it's a 24/7, 365-day-a-week society. The shops are all open, and people from the businesses that I represent, I have an accountancy firm, come and see me, KHT.
Where is it?
Just down the road, actually.
Oxford Street.
Yeah, 213 Oxford Street. They were having problems getting people to do the shifts during the week, particularly from the young kids, because all they wanted to do was work Saturday and Sunday because, get paid double time or time and a half. They cannot get the people during the week because they all wanted to work on the weekends. And it costs them a fortune.
I understand it's a 7-day society. The problem with the 7-day society is school system. It's still only a 5-day-a-week society, and I think we need, and I'm being probably sound a bit wimpy and soft here, but we need to put more emphasis back on the family aspect of how the world works.
Absolutely. I don't disagree with you there at all. I just think the society has bred this problem, what we've become.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that's our political rant for the week.
That's political rant.
We might do a political rant every week. We might find a topic that we like to disagree or even maybe, funnily enough, agree on from time to time.
I think we've agreed on most topics today.
And just came out in the news, Matt, Esteban Chavez, Australia's favourite Colombian, is going to ride the Tour.
Aussie's own. I'll tell you what, he's going to ride the Tour, which I think is great because you've got Chavez, you've got the Yates boys, Scott are doing a magnificent job, and we've got our boys in there, and Robbie Power and Luke Durbridge, and really, really happy to see how Robbie develops now that he's gotten over his injury and all that. But I see the race this weekend. We've got Caleb Ewan, Mark Cavendish, Marcel Kittel, John Degenkolb, Andre Greipel and Viviani all lining up in the same bike race. There's
one of them's going to end up on the ground.
7 fastest men in the world right now are all lining up.
Absolutely, it's going to be fantastic to watch. And if it comes to a bunchie, which it may well, those boys don't give any quarter.
That's right.
Not one of them. They don't move off the wheel. You can't move them off the wheel. And let's face it, Cav's been known to put people on their arse.
Well, it's sprinting.
It's sprinting.
You got to put the blinkers on and just move through the gap.
None of them are saints when it comes to this.
Yes, that's right.
It's sprinting, and quite possibly could be one of the best sprints of the year if it comes to a sprint.
Now, just before we go, we'll wind this one up for the first B Graders podcast of the day. Tour of Margaret River. First weekend, about November 8th, it's going to be happening this year. They're asking the question of, do you want to ride with Marianne Vos and her team this year? I, for one, say yes to that. This man rode
I rode with Marianne Vos last year in a team with her, and I can tell you it's one of the highlights of my cycling life. Took her to a sprint win in the last stage, shared a house with her, went to dinner with her, just a quality person. You won't find a nicer person. If we can get the coup of having the greatest of all time, woman at least, and in the top 5 of both sexes of all time out here again, I think, yes, you have to have her. She's just a fantastic ambassador, and just can't speak highly enough of her.
That's right, and that will take care of no phone calls from any women out there who ride bikes saying we didn't talk enough about women in sport.
Absolutely. So thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. Comments and any feedback can go to
somewhere.
We'll
let you know. We might post this one if we're
matt1@iinet.net.au. You can send them to there, and we will respond if we think it's worthy of responding. Thanks for your attention.
Who's your favourite bike rider of all time?
Favourite of all time?
Yeah.
Geez, it's a really, really hard question. I'd have to say Chris Glasby.
Just getting up there. Anyway, on that note, see you next time.